So come to find out, I won like over $13,000. The lady said HRA took $6,500 of it because they're allowed to take up to half of your income. And then I had to pay federal and state taxes. So I walked away with all of $1,400. Will tell you this, I will never set foot in a casino again. Casino won't see me.
Government recoupment is accountability. Means tested welfare comes with an understanding. It's a temporary safety net, not free money. Welcome to the John Amanchukwu Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do me a big favor and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And never forget that there is no rhythm like the owl go rhythm. Without your support, I cannot get my content out. Now, in this episode, we will talk about gambling, God, and stewardship. This story is unheard of. You're going to hear a story of a young lady who goes and gambles, and she finds out real quick how much the government really loves her. And she learns a lesson on gambling, which ultimately, my personal opinion, although the Bible doesn't explicitly say it, I believe is a sin because it leads towards greed and covetousness. Take a look at this.
I would not believe what happened to me. I'm trying to smile to hide the pain. So yesterday, I'm in New York City. I'm in Queens. I'm like, okay, I got some time on my hands. I'm going to go to the casino. As soon as I walk in the casino, I'm like, I'm just going to sit at whatever slot machine. I'm going to put some money in there. I'm going to play. I accidentally hit the max bet button. So the machine starts dinging, going crazy, like I'm in some type of bonus round. I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. When the game finishes, it starts dinging and calculating and just going off, and people are like surrounding me. And I'm like, okay, something's happening. Like something good is happening. So come to find out, I won like over $13,000. So I had to sit there and wait. The guy in like the red shirt comes over, manager comes over. They make me like show my ID. They make me look into a camera, like do all of this verification stuff. So I just won over $13,000. I'm hyped, like, baby. I only started with like $100. So I'm excited. I'm spending the money before I even put it in, pulling up the kids. I'm like, baby, put your shoes on, baby, put your shoes on. I stand on this long line. When I tell y'all this line was stood on this line for mad long. I'm hyped. I get up to the thing. I hand her my ID. I hand her my ticket. She's like, wait, we got to call the manager. I'm like, copy, cool, because it's $13,000. Call the manager. Manager comes. They chatting, yapping. They giving each other this really weird look like this. I'm like, they hating because I just got $13K. I mean, okay. So the lady comes up to me. She prints out this really long ticket and she looks at me with this saddened look on her face. And she's like, well, public assistance. Oh, who? Them? Yep. I am very transparent with y'all. I was on government assistance most of my adult life. I genuinely just got off these last couple years now that I'm financially stable. But literally before I was born, my mother had me on food stamps, welfare, HRA, whatever you want to call it. She had me on it. The lady said HRA took $6,500 of it because they're allowed to take up to half of your income. And then I had to pay federal and state taxes. So I walked away with all of $1,400. Will tell you this, I will never set foot in a casino again. Casino won't see me.
Oh my goodness, this is funny. So she's no longer going to the casino. Why not? Because the taxes, or because you had to pay some money back because of welfare? Now listen, government recoupment is accountability. Means tested welfare comes with an understanding. It's a temporary safety net, not free money. Now, I understand, people who have to get on welfare for a certain season and for a certain time frame. I was on it for a short period of time, but my mother took on an additional job to make sure that we didn't stay on welfare. She didn't like the idea of her children going through the free and reduced lunch line. So therefore, she worked even harder to make sure that we didn't have to receive that kind of government subsidy. However, it's a safety net. It's not a hammock. And I know countless people who are on welfare and who received, food stamps, the EBT, the government cheese, whatever you want to call it, and they are able-bodied. They can go to work. They could really, lift a box that's over 100 pounds. They can run, they can jump, they can club, they can dance, they can do all of these things. But yet at the end of the day, they can't work because of some disability. I know what it's like to see people do that, knowing that they are fully capable. They're not even on the spectrum. You hear me? They can think, they can talk, they can comprehend, all of that stuff. They can write, but they just are simply lazy and they're working the system. So it's good that they recoup these funds from her. And it also put her in a position now where she says to herself, you know what, man, I would rather just go work. Let me work, and I don't want to pay anybody any additional money. Problem solved. When a person hits a financial windfall, it's just and responsible for the government to recover taxpayer-funded aid previously given. This is not punishment, my friends. It's paying back a debt to society that supported you when you needed help. Number 2, welfare should incentivize independence. Welfare is meant to bridge the gap, not create dependency. Although when you live on it, when you stay on it for decades, it does become a situation where you no longer desire to work on your own, and you do become dependent of that. Knowing that success comes with accountability reinforces a culture of self-reliance and hard work. True progress isn't avoiding repayment. It's earning your way out and settling your obligations honorably. Number 3, fairness for taxpayers and families. Millions of hardworking Americans never qualify for assistance. I mean, I consider myself, I'm paying for 3 children to go to a private Christian school, albeit through my property taxes. I'm paying for 3 children to go to a public school. So I'm being taxed twice. I'm having to pay twice. And I pay, over $2,300 a month to send my kids to a private Christian school. I wish that I could get those funds back. Now, we're working on things in North Carolina through school choice, but I mean, you have to be able to qualify to get that back. I'm a taxpayer. I deserve my money back. You understand what I'm saying? If I'm paying for children to go to a private Christian school, then I should not be paying for 3 empty seats in the public school system. Also, it's only fair that when someone becomes able, they repay the system so others can benefit next. And this preserves public trust, protects the integrity of welfare programs, and ensures limited government works for those truly in need. And here it is. I just have to do this. Some people are going to disagree when I say this. However, let me give you the biblical perspective on gambling and wealth. Is gambling sinful? All right. Now, the scripture doesn't directly reference the term gambling, but it is spiritually risky. I'll unpack that. The Bible does not directly outlaw gambling by mentioning thou shalt not gamble, but it does strongly caution against behaviors and heart postures that come along with it. And number 1, greed. Luke 12:15 tells us, and he said unto them, take heed and beware of covetousness. For a man's life consisteth not in the abundance of the things which he possesseth. Then it talks about the love of money. 1 Timothy 6:10 says, for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Some people eager for money, eager to play the slot machine, eager to shoot the craps, eager to pull the lever one more time. If I pull this lever one more time, I'm going to be a millionaire. And then you pull the lever and you'd make no money. If I pull it one more time, I'm going to hit the big one. And you pull the lever and you don't. Oh, I feel lucky today. I feel lucky. The stars are aligning, and I'm sensing that I'm clairvoyant. And I believe that if I pull the lever one more time, by this time you spent all of your money. Why? Because you're eager for money. The Bible says many people have wandered from the faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. And there's no grief like dealing with a spirit of covetousness, where you're spending your whole paycheck. You're spending your family's savings. You're going and drinking and traveling to Las Vegas and different states that allow for gambling. And you risk it all in the name of hitting it big. And then it leads towards coveting. Exodus 20:17 says, you shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. It fuels that greed and that covetousness. Gambling does. And then also, the Bible speaks of get rich quick schemes, which, is the embodiment of gambling. Proverbs 13:11 says, dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. And so some key things to reflect on. You have risk versus stewardship. Gambling encourages taking unwise risks with resources God has entrusted to us. God calls us to be faithful stewards, according to 1 Corinthians 4:2, not reckless speculators. And then you have impulse versus wisdom. Gambling often plays into addictive behavior, lacking self-control, according to Galatians 5:22 through 23. Then the Bible tells us this. In Proverbs 15:22, it says, wise financial decisions come from counsel and prudence, not chance. And then it's the issue of temptation or blessing. Which one is it? Sudden wealth from gambling is more often a trap than a blessing. Proverbs 20:21 says, an inheritance claimed too soon will not be blessed at the end. Bottom line, a heart driven by chance, greed, and fantasy is not aligned with a God-honoring life. So this is what we should consider. Consider the parable of the talents and the biblical standard. The parable of the talents can be found in Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 through 30. God gives each person resources to manage, not for indulgence, but for kingdom purpose. The faithful servant invests wisely, multiplies what he's given, and is praised for doing so. The unfaithful servant hides his talent, showing fear and laziness, and is condemned for doing so. And so here are some principles from the parable. Wealth is a test of character and faith. God rewards diligence, not chance. Faithful use of money honors God, whether it's $10 or $10 million. And we're also called as Christians to radical generosity. But gambling is all about feeding one's own self. 1 Timothy 6:17 through 19 commands the wealthy. It says, command those who are rich to be rich in good deeds and to be generous and willing to share. Christians are not forbidden to be wealthy, but are commanded to be generous, humble, and responsible with what they have. It's called stewardship. God blesses us to bless others, not to hoard or self-indulge. Final takeaway: should Christians gamble? By now you should see clearly that the Bible indirectly speaks to gambling. But gambling is not just about money, my friends. It's about the heart behind the desire. You should ask yourself these questions. Am I trusting God or chasing luck? Am I stewarding God's provision or risking it for personal gain? And am I using this blessing for self-glory or for God's glory? Let me know what you think below in the comment section. Am I right or am I wrong? Am I weak or am I strong? God bless you and God bless America.